He's back. So I guess I'm leaving. Let's get a divorce. Is it because he's back? You knew. You forget. I was just as close to him as you were. Chloe Young and I were in the same circle back in college, along with her North Star, Evan Shun. The three of us went to Northwestern. Evan and I were even roommates. My family was dirt poor. We lived paycheck to paycheck, and my tuition was scraped together from loans and the generosity of relatives. The only reason I stayed afloat was my grades, good enough to land a scholarship every semester. I met Evan first, and through him, I met Chloe. Evan told me they were childhood friends. Their families were old money, practically dynasties in Chicago, and everyone expected them to end up together. But Evan was clear. He only ever saw Chloe as a little sister, nothing more. Chloe, on the other hand, was hopelessly in love with Evan. Both Evan and I knew it, and I was hopelessly in love with Chloe, though I knew my place. Her family's company was worth hundreds of millions. She was their only child, set to take over the family business as soon as she graduated. Evan's family was in the same league, and me? I was the scholarship kid from forgotten corner of rural Illinois. But for a guy born with a silver spoon, Evan didn't have a single pretentious bone in his body. He always looked out for me. He knew I was struggling, so he'd order a mountain of food whenever we went out. Eyes were bigger than my stomach, he'd say with a shrug. Help me out here, man. He'd ask me to run errands for him, saying he was too lazy to go himself, then stuff $100 bill in my hand for my trouble. If I tried to refuse, he'd get offended. Don't insult me, he'd say. I knew what he was doing. He was helping me without wounding my pride. So I found my own ways to pay him back. I'd wash his comforter and sheets, do his laundry, small things I could manage. But then he'd turn around and treat me to a steak dinner that cost a fortune, and I'd wonder if I should have just left his laundry alone. We became best friends, inseparable. With Chloe, we were the perfect trio. Because of Evan, Chloe was always kind to me. She'd invite us over to her family's sprawling lake forest mansion for dinner. After a while, I became a familiar face there, even sneaking into the kitchen to learn a few tricks from their personal chef. I did the same at Evan's house, and, eventually, my cooking skills earned genuine praise from both of them. For 3 years, life was good. Then, just before graduation, Evan announced he'd been accepted to a graduate program abroad. The day he left, I was the only one at O'Hare to see him off. He hadn't even let his parents come. I know how Chloe feels, he told me, his voice low. Going abroad, it's partly to get away. I can't just turn her down flat. It would crush her. He clapped a hand on my shoulder. Look after her for me, Leo. I thought I'd hidden my own feelings so well. But then he laid it all out. Leo, man, I know you're in love with Chloe. After I'm gone, you should go for it. If you two could make it work, nothing would make me happier. Evan, I started, but he cut me off. Seriously, Leo, I just see her as a sister. You're my best friend. I trust you with her more than anyone. But she loves you. That's why I have to leave. I didn't even tell her I was going. She's going to be devastated. For a while, yeah. But I can't give her the happiness she deserves. I don't love her that way. You do. I see it in your eyes. If she could love you back, you two could have something real. How long will you be gone? 3 years, maybe 5. I won't be back for a long time. Evan left. It was 3 days before Chloe found out. He was leaving the country. Leo, why didn't you tell me? She screamed at me, her face streaked with tears. I didn't have an answer for her. That night, she dragged me to a bar and drank herself into a stupor. Seeing her like that, a hollow ache opened up in my chest. Sometimes, loving someone just means wanting them to be happy. I couldn't judge her love for Evan. All I could do was be there for her. For months, I never saw her smile. I asked her once why she didn't just go find him. She said he'd cut off all contact with everyone back home, even his parents. I didn't buy it. I could believe he'd ghost Chloe to stop her from following him. But his own parents? No way. Evan must have told them not to give her any information. He probably didn't even tell me where he was going, knowing Chloe would eventually wear me down. His old social media accounts were deleted, his number disconnected. He never logged into his old Facebook or iMessage again. He was serious about creating distance. After Evan left, I went to work for Chloe's family company. Together, we poured everything we had into growing the business. And we did. It flourished. Maybe time healed the wound, or maybe she just gave up. 2 years later, she agreed to marry me. We went to the courthouse and signed the papers. But before we did, she made one request. We couldn't tell anyone we were married. I hesitated, but she insisted. It's just for now, she'd said. Once we have kids, we could tell everyone. As much as it bothered me, I agreed. I loved her, didn't I? Our married life was, for the most part, happy. Chloe seemed to slowly forget about Evan. I made sure to never bring him up. The only thing missing was a child. We went to doctors, who told us we were both perfectly healthy. Maybe the timing's just not right, Chloe would say. As long as we're healthy, it'll happen eventually. I wanted to believe her. Until one night. We just made love. I went to shower and realized I'd forgotten a clean pair of boxers. I was about to call out for Chloe to grab them for me, but I figured she was tired, so I went out to get them myself. When I stepped out of the bathroom, I saw her, back to me, quickly swallowing a pill. She saw me and quickly hid the pill bottle under her pillow. At first, I thought she was sick. She mumbled something about it being for her blood pressure. I could tell she was lying, but I didn't call her on it. Later, when she was in the shower, I lifted the pillow. Nothing. I searched the nightstand, then the closet. Tucked away in a shoebox, I found it. The label was unmistakable. Emergency contraception. My head went numb. Had she been taking these for years? It would explain everything. 2 years of marriage and no baby. I stood there, the empty box cold in my hand, my mind a blank slate of betrayal. Just then, Chloe came out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel. She saw the box in my hand, and the color drained from her face. She knew she was caught. "Leo, let me explain." "Go ahead," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "I'm listening." "I can't find the words." "Fine. Then I'll ask." I held up the box. "You've been taking these for the last 2 years?" She nodded, refusing to meet my eyes. "Why? If you didn't want to have kids, you could have just told me. We could have adopted. Or if you don't like kids, I could have accepted that for you. Why did you have to lie to me? What did I do wrong?" "Nothing. You did nothing wrong. You've been perfect at the company, at home. You've been the best. Then why couldn't you have my child? I just thought we were still young, that we could have kids in a couple of years. Then you could have said that. Sneaking around, taking these pills. It's not good for you, Chloe. I'm not an unreasonable person. If you wanted to wait, I would have waited. You didn't have to hide this. What do you take me for?" "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Every time I see you playing with the neighbor's kids, how good you are with them. I was afraid. I was afraid if you knew I didn't want a baby right now, you'd be so disappointed in me." I sighed, the fight draining out of me. "Fine. If you don't want a kid, we won't have one. We'll talk about it when you're ready." I got into bed and turned my back to her. Maybe she felt guilty, because in the days that followed, she was overly attentive, trying to make it up to me in 100 small ways. I let it go, or I tried to, but I didn't realize a seed of resentment had been planted deep inside me, a crack in the foundation I'd chosen to ignore. In our 3rd year of marriage, the 5th year since Evan had left, Chloe came home from work and dropped a bombshell. "Let's get a divorce." My heart seized. For a second, I couldn't process the words. "What did you say?" "Leo, let's get a divorce." She slid a set of papers across the dining table. "A divorce agreement. The condo is yours, so is the car. I'll also transfer $1 million to your account. It should be enough for you to start something new." Her tone was so final, so resolute. It snapped me back to reality. "Why? Everything's been fine. Why now?" He's coming back." "Who?" The name was on my lips before I even finished the question. "Evan." "Yes. How do you know?" "His old Facebook. He updated it today for the first time in years." I fumbled for my phone and opened the app. And there it was. A new post from Evan Shun. A selfie of him in an airport terminal, grinning. The caption read, 5 years. Finally heading home. To all my friends and family, get ready. I'm coming for you. I quietly put my phone down. "You kept our marriage a secret because you were afraid he'd find out?" My voice was flat. "And the baby? You didn't want a baby because of him, too?" Chloe didn't answer. She just said, "Leo, thank you for these 5 years. For your patience and your love. But I can't let go of Evan. The second I saw he was coming back, he's all I've been able to think about. I know it's not fair to you, but I can't help it. I thought after 5 years, I'd have forgotten him. But hearing he's coming back, it's like all those memories I buried came flooding back." "I don't," she said, cutting me off. "You don't have to say anything. I guess I always knew this day might come. I thought I could love you enough to make you love me back. I overestimated myself. And I underestimated how much you still love him." I let out a bitter laugh. "Since you've already made your decision, I'll grant you your wish. I wish you both the best." I looked her in the eye. "Just one last question. Did you ever, even for a moment, love me?" Chloe looked at me, then slowly dropped her gaze to the floor. That was all the answer I needed. A hollow laugh escaped me as I picked up a pen and, with 2 sharp strokes, signed my name, Leo Hayes, on the divorce agreement. I'd expected a wave of pain, a shattered heart. Instead, I felt nothing. Maybe I was just numb. Seeing my signature, Chloe seemed to flinch, a flash of panic in her eyes. She quickly gathered the papers, as if afraid I'd change my mind, and rushed toward the door. As she left, she threw one last sentence over her shoulder. "We'll go to the courthouse tomorrow to finalize the paperwork." "In such a hurry?" "I guess that makes sense. Better to get it done before Evan finds out and it gets complicated for you." My words made her pause at the door, her hand on the knob. But then she opened it and was gone. Watching her leave, I could only shake my head and smile a bitter, empty smile. 2 years of companionship, 3 years of marriage, all traded for a single sentence. I can't let him go. The next morning, Chloe and I went to the courthouse. She looked terrible, her eyes shadowed and puffy. She obviously hadn't slept a wink. Probably too excited about Evan's return arrest, I thought. Not my problem anymore. At the entrance to the building, she hesitated. Come on, I said, my voice even. Let's get this over with. We can go pick up Evan together. It's been 5 years. I wonder how much he's changed. Leo. What is it? Nothing. It's nothing. Then let's go. It's early, we can beat the lines. I walked into the courthouse without looking back, leaving her no choice but to follow. Are you sure you want to go through with this? You don't want to reconsider? The clerk asked, her voice laced with practiced concern. We're sure, I said firmly. We've already discussed it. Please just process the papers. The clerk glanced at Chloe, who remained silent, and then proceeded without further questions. The process was quick. The divorce will be finalized in 1 month. It's a mandatory waiting period. If you change your minds during that time, you can come back and withdraw the petition. Okay, thank you. Throughout the entire process, Chloe didn't say a single word. As we walked out of the courthouse and into the morning sun, a strange feeling washed over me. Relief. I felt lighter than I had in years. I didn't understand it. I knew, on some level, that I loved Chloe deeply. But now that it was truly over, the pain was gone. Maybe it was that one phrase, he's back, that finally woke me from the dream I'd been living in. Let's go, I said, checking my watch. His flight lands in less than an hour, and it's a 20-minute drive to O'Hare from here. We got in the car. Chloe sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window. I focused on driving. The silence between us was a heavy, suffocating blanket. We didn't speak again until we were standing at the arrivals gate. Leo, I'm sorry, she finally whispered. You have nothing to be sorry for, I said, my eyes fixed on the gate. Being with me all these years. In a way, you made my dream come true. Now Evan's back. You have every right to chase the love you've always wanted. This is an amicable split. No one's at fault. But whatever she was about to say was cut off as the doors slid open and passengers began to stream out. And then we saw him. 5 years hadn't changed Evan Chin much, except for a new layer of maturity that settled comfortably on his handsome features. Leo, Chloe, he yelled, his face breaking into a wide grin. I knew you two would be here to get me. Told my parents not to bother. Welcome back, man. I pulled him into a hard, back-thumping hug. It's been too long. Chloe stood awkwardly to the side, her hands fidgeting, unsure of what to do. Evan stepped over and gave her a warm hug. I could see the way she melted into him, as if she wanted to disappear into his embrace. This, I thought, shaking my head slightly, is what real love looks like. All right, let's go, I said, breaking the moment. We've got a table waiting. A proper welcome home feast. Evan got in the back, immediately launching into stories about his time abroad, completely oblivious to the fact that Chloe and I hadn't exchanged a single word since leaving the airport. So, Leo, he said, leaning forward, how had you been, man? You dating anyone? He shot a quick, meaningful glance toward Chloe. I saw him in the rearview mirror, jutting his chin in her direction, a silent, bro-code question. Have you finally won her over? I pretended not to notice and changed the subject. What about you? Find anyone interesting overseas? Chloe flinched beside me. Now, Evan said, I'm not really into the foreign girls. Dated another American student for a bit, but it didn't feel right, so we broke it off. He then turned his attention to the passenger seat. Chloe, how about you? Any boyfriends? I was seeing someone, she stammered, her eyes darting towards me for a split second. But we broke up too. I didn't turn my head, just offered a small, tight smile to the windshield. What about you, Leo? Evan pressed. Same story as Chloe's. Look at that. Evan roared with laughter. I come back, and we're all single again. The three musketeers, back in action. So you're back for good this time? I asked. Yep. My parents have been on my case for years to come back and join the family business. I just wanted a few more years of freedom, so I stalled as long as I could. We chatted all the way to the restaurant. I led them to the private room I'd booked, and we settled in for a long meal. Mostly, Evan talked and we listened. After dinner, I drove Evan home. You just got off a long flight, I told him. Get some rest. We'll catch up properly when you're settled. I'll take Chloe home. All right, drive safe, man. I drove Chloe to the other condo her family owned, the one she'd moved into after she left our place yesterday. Her things were still at our place. When are you going to get your stuff? I asked as I pulled up to the curb. We're still in the waiting period, she said defensively. Can't I leave my things at my own home? That's not what I mean. You know Evan and I are best friends. He's going to come over. When he sees all your things, what am I supposed to say? Not to mention all our photos, our wedding album. What if he sees them? The secret's out. I'm just trying to protect you here. I'll get my things tomorrow, she said quietly. Okay. True to her word, Chloe came the next day and packed up all her belongings. She took everything, even our framed photos together. All she left behind were the large, professionally framed wedding photos hanging on the walls. I took them down, packed them into a box with a few other things she'd forgotten, and tossed it all in the dumpster. Then I cleaned the condo from top to bottom until there was no trace of her left. That evening, I invited Evan over for dinner. And of course Chloe too. I cooked a feast and opened 2 bottles of expensive red wine. When Evan arrived and saw the spread, he whistled. Damn, Leo, you're living well. This looks even better than a restaurant last night. You helped me out a lot back in the day, I said. I couldn't afford to treat you then. Now I can, so you're getting the best. Huh. Well, I won't say no to that. Is Chloe here yet? Probably stuck in traffic. She should be here any minute. As if on cue, the front door opened, and Chloe walked in, using her own key. Evan's smile faltered. Chloe, you have a key to Leo's place? Oh, one time I was sick and Chloe took care of me. I jumped in improvising. After that, she insisted on having a key in case of an emergency. Oh, I see, Evan said, though his eyes narrowed slightly. I was about to say, I almost thought something was going on between you two. He laughed, but sounded forced. Honestly, you two, you've been working together for how long now? I don't know why you haven't gotten together already. You make a great couple. You even kind of look alike. Just eat your dinner, Chloe snapped, a blush creeping up her neck. Can't all this food shut you up? All right, I'll stop, he said, holding up his hands in surrender. Still a firecracker, aren't you? I feel sorry for the guy who ends up with you. You're still talking. Okay. For real this time. Eating. The rest of the dinner was painfully awkward for Chloe and me. At one point, Evan accidentally knocked a bowl off the table, shattering it. Before I could even get up, Chloe was already heading to the kitchen, opening the exact cupboard where the new dishware was kept, and pulling out a replacement. Evan was a sharp guy. He watched her move around my kitchen as if it were her own, knowing where everything was without asking. The suspicion in his eyes was impossible to miss. Chloe noticed his stare and opened her mouth to explain, a flustered look on her face. It's okay, Evan said, cutting her off smoothly. You don't have to say anything. I get it. You take care of Leo a lot, so of course you know your way around his place. It's totally normal. But we were all smart enough to know a lie when we heard one. He was the one who'd figured out I had a crush on Chloe back in college. The guy didn't miss a thing. One small detail was all he needed to piece together the whole story. But there was no way he could guess the truth, that we had been married and were now divorced. Since we'd all been drinking, I insisted they stay the night rather than drive. I took the guest room with Evan, and Chloe slept in the master bedroom. Lying in the dark, Evan spoke. Leo, be straight with me. Are you and Chloe hiding something from me? No. What could we possibly be hiding? You're lying. The way she is in this condo. It's like it's her home. Even if she comes over to take care of you, there's no way she'd know where the nail clippers are kept. Earlier, Evan had mentioned needing to trim a nail, and before he'd even finished the sentence, Chloe had retrieved the clippers for him from a drawer in the living room console. If this wasn't your own home, who would know that? There's really nothing to tell, I mumbled, rolling over. I'm drunk. Let's just go to sleep. We could talk tomorrow. Seeing that I wouldn't budge, Evan dropped it. But I knew him. He'd just go ask Chloe instead. He sensed there was a piece of the puzzle he was missing. The next few weeks were a blur of dinners and outings, the 3 of us together again. But soon Evan officially took over his family's business, and his free time vanished. Today was the last day of our 1-month waiting period. Chloe and I were back at the courthouse. Well, let's go, I said. After this, we'll officially be single again. Are you really in such a hurry to divorce me? She asked, her voice trembling. You're the one who asked for this. I'm just giving you what you want. Why are you blaming me now? Leo, I think I made a mistake. I regret this. Don't be ridiculous, Chloe. Marriage isn't a game. We're already divorced. We have to accept it. But you said it yourself. You said you couldn't forget Evan. Since that's the case, all I can do is step aside. But I was wrong. When I first saw that Evan was coming back, I was so happy. I thought the love of my life was returning, so I rushed to divorce you. But the moment you signed those papers, a horrible panic set in. I didn't understand it. I spent all night trying to figure it out, but I couldn't. And I went through with it all in a daze. Then, when I finally saw Evan again, I thought I'd be overjoyed, but I wasn't. It didn't feel the way I thought it would. And being around you these last few weeks, I realized I can't live without you. Leo, please, she begged. Can we not do this? Chloe, we're not kids anymore. We have to live with the choices we make. But I'm telling you I love you now. I realized I've fallen in love with you, that I can't be without you. She grabbed my hand, her grip desperate. Let's not get divorced, okay? You said you wanted kids, right? We can have a baby. We can start trying right now. I pull my arm away. You say you love me now, but I've already let you go. No, that's not possible, she said, shaking her head in disbelief. You love me so much. How could you just let go? You're right. I loved you that much. And it took you until now to realize you might feel something for me. In the end, all it took to erase years of my love was one simple sentence. He's back. Tears streamed down her face. This was the second time I had ever seen her cry. The first was when Evan left, when she had wept just as helplessly in front of me. In the end, despite her pleas, I went through with it. We finalized the divorce. As we parted ways in the parking lot, I heard her shout after me, her voice cracking. Leo, 3 years ago, you pursued me. Now it's my turn. I swear, I'm going to win you back. I just smiled, a sad, empty smile, and hit the gas, leaving the courthouse and her behind. The next day, I walked into Chloe's office with my resignation letter. Why are you quitting? She asked, her voice strained. I want to travel, see the country, see if there's a place out there for me. Ever since college, I've been right here, working for your company. I've never even left this city. Can't you stay? I just shook my head. Why do you have to go? Evan just got back, and now you're leaving. Can't we just be like we were in college, all of us together? Back then, we were just kids focused on school. It was different. Now, we're supposed to have our own lives. We can't just stick together forever. Why not? You know why? What happens when you and Evan get together? Am I supposed to stand by and watch you two get married? What does that leave me? I just don't want you to leave. All good things must come to an end, Chloe. Everyone has their own path to walk. Our marriage, our divorce. That was a path we walked together for a while. Now I have to go walk my own. Do you really have to go? I didn't answer, just held her gaze. Finally, she sighed in defeat. I'll hold on to your resignation. If you ever want to come back, your job will be waiting for you. I nodded once, then turned and walked out of her office. 2 days later, I had everything packed. I was leaving the city the next morning. I'd already listed the condo with a real estate agent. The car, which was registered under the company's name anyway, I left in the parking garage at her office. Over those 2 days, Chloe kept finding excuses to come by. She had her own key, so she never even bothered to ring the bell. What are you doing here again? I asked as she let herself in. I brought you some food. She held up a takeout bag. You were always getting me takeout. Now it's my turn. The logo on the bag was from an old favorite spot of hers. I knew the place. It was a good 10 miles away. I couldn't believe she'd driven all that way. You don't have to do this, Chloe. I know you like this place. Actually, I never did. It's Thai food. It's too spicy for me. I'm a meat and potatoes guy. I only ever got it because you liked it. She froze. You never told me you didn't like it. Did you ever notice that whenever I brought it home, I barely touched it? She hadn't. She really hadn't noticed. Whenever she'd asked, he just said he wasn't hungry. She had been his wife for 3 years, and she didn't even know what kind of food he liked. She had failed so completely. There's no point in these grand gestures anymore, Chloe. I'm leaving tomorrow. You don't have to come back here. I've already listed the condo. Her head snapped up. You're selling the condo? But that was our home. There's no marriage, Chloe. Why would I keep the home? But we have 3 years of memories there. You're just going to sell it. You can't stay in one place forever. The people who live in that home are gone. What's the point of keeping an empty shell? But please just go home, I said, my voice heavy with exhaustion. I need to rest. Chloe left. I thought that would be the end of it for the night. But I was wrong. An hour later, Evan was at my door, his face a storm cloud. He barged in. Chloe told me, you're leaving tomorrow. Why the hell didn't you tell me? I wasn't going to forget you, man. I was planning to call you on my way to the airport. Since you're here now, I said, gesturing to the kitchen, let's have one last drink. God knows when we'll get another chance. Forget the drink. I'm here on business. All right, I sighed, sinking onto the couch. Sit down. Let's talk. Chloe told me everything, he said, his voice tight. You two got married. How could you not tell me something that huge? I nearly rolled my eyes. Are you listening to yourself? You went abroad and ghosted everyone. How was I supposed to tell you? Besides, the one condition Chloe had for marrying me was that we kept it a secret, especially from you. So how was I supposed to tell you? But if you were married, why would you get a divorce? She didn't tell you why? No. She just said you got married 3 years ago and divorced recently. Well, if she didn't tell you, then I'll just say we had irreconcilable differences. We grew apart. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? Don't feed me that crap, Leo. What really happened? Just drop it, Evan. She won't say, and I'm definitely not going to. You two are going to drive me insane. 5 years ago, when I left, I told you I trusted you with her. I could see how much you loved her. How did you two end up here after just 3 years? Did you do something to hurt her? Fine. I said my patience gone. Believe I did something to hurt her. Just stay out of it. I knew Evan. If he found out he was the reason we got divorced, the guilt would eat him alive. Fine, he shot back, getting his feet. If you won't tell me, I'll go ask Chloe. I'll get the truth out of her one way or another. Evan stormed out. The second the door slammed shut, I grabbed my phone and sent Chloe a text. Don't you dare tell him the real reason. He'll blame himself forever. The three of us were best friends. Brothers. I didn't want Evan to carry that kind of guilt for the rest of his life. Chloe and I were divorced. It was done. Once I left, things would go back to how they were supposed to be. Except this time, I was the one leaving and Evan was the one staying. I hoped they could find happiness together. After all, Chloe had waited for him for so long. After leaving my place, Evan drove straight to Chloe's. Tell me what's going on, he demanded the moment she opened the door. You get married without telling me, divorced without telling me. Do you even still consider me your friend? Evan, please don't ask. Leo and I just had a misunderstanding. Once he's had some time to cool off, I'll get him back. We can all be together again, just like before. Stop lying to me. I just came from Leo's. I saw in his eyes, Chloe. He's saying goodbye for good. This isn't him taking a trip to clear his head. He's not coming back. That's impossible. Leo wouldn't abandon us. He's just going away for a little while to sort things out. Her voice was rising, laced with hysteria. He cares too much. He would never leave us both here and just disappear. She clutched at a desperate hope. And I've already contacted the realtor. I'm going to buy the condo. It was our home. When he comes back, I'll ask him to remarry me. You're deluding yourself, Chloe. Leo is really leaving. Forever. He is not coming back. No, you're wrong. You're lying. Leo loves me. He would never leave me all alone. You're lying to me. Seeing the state she was in, Evans softened his tone. Okay, I'm not lying. But the most important thing right now is to convince him to stay. Then you can work on winning him back. Yes, she said, grabbing onto his words. We have to make him stay. We can't let him leave. But to do that, you have to tell me why you two really got divorced. Otherwise, I don't even know where to start. Chloe was silent for a long moment. Then, as if summoning all her courage, she finally spoke. We got divorced because of you. Because of me? But I just got back. How am I involved? And so, Chloe told him everything, from the moment she saw his Facebook post to the signing of the divorce papers, leaving out no detail. Evan just sat there, frozen, his eyes filling with tears, his face a mask of pure regret. I shouldn't have. I should have never come back, he whispered, his voice choked. How could you be so foolish, Chloe? I always told you. I only see you as a sister. If I had ever loved you, I never would have left in the first place. I thought after 5 years, you would have moved on. I never imagined you would do something so destructive. I can only imagine how much pain Leo must have felt when you told him why you wanted a divorce. You basically told him to his face that he meant nothing to you, that he was just a placeholder. I wasn't thinking straight, she sobbed. It was an impulse. I thought I still loved you, that I couldn't let you go. It wasn't until after the divorce was final that I realized. I've fallen in love with him, but now it's too late. Because of my own stupid selfishness, I've lost the one man who truly loved me. Crying isn't going to fix this now, Evans said, standing up. You wait here. I'm going to go talk to Leo. I have to make him stay. Evan left Chloe's house and drove frantically back to mine. What he didn't know was that the moment he was gone, Chloe had grabbed her keys and followed him. Leo, Chloe told me everything, Evans said, his face etched with guilt as I let him in. She regrets it. She knows she made a mistake. Can you please just give her another chance? Looking at his tormented face, my own heart ached. Evan, since you know, there's nothing more to say. When she told me she wanted a divorce, I honestly thought she was joking. And then she said you were back. I continued, my voice hollow. That's when I knew. I knew she had never forgotten you. I was just a substitute, a stand-in to take care of her for 5 years. Now the original is back, and it's time for the replacement to be returned. I sincerely hope you two can be happy together. Leo, you know that's not true, Evan pleaded. I only feel brotherly love for Chloe, nothing more. This is all my fault. I shouldn't have come back. I should have just died overseas. Then you two wouldn't have divorced because of me. Don't talk like that, I said, shaking my head. We're brothers. I know you. In a way, I should thank you. If you hadn't come back, I would have gone on living a lie, never knowing she didn't love me. I let out a bitter laugh. It's funny, isn't it? I've loved her since college. 3 years ago, when she agreed to marry me, I was so happy I couldn't sleep for days. She even teased me about the dark circles under my eyes, asking if I'd been getting into trouble at night. My voice cracked. I told her it was because marrying her was the best thing that had ever happened to me, a blessing I hadn't earned. I swore an oath that day. I swore I would love only Chloe Young for the rest of my life and never betray her. I looked at Evan, my eyes burning. Looking back now, what a pathetic joke that oath was. Suddenly, the front door creaked open. Chloe stood in the doorway, her face a mess of tears. She had heard everything. The regret on her face was so profound it was almost tangible. She finally understood what she had lost. "Leo," she sobbed, stumbling into the room. "Let's get back together. Please. I know I was wrong. I was so wrong. We can have a good life together, I promise." "Chloe, the moment you said you wanted a divorce, something inside me died. My voice was devoid of emotion. I loved you more than anything. Now, I feel nothing. After the divorce, you're nothing more to me than a friend." "Leo." "Evan, don't," I said, cutting him off before he could speak. "If our friendship means anything to you, don't try to persuade me. You can't bring back a heart that's already dead." "It's all my fault. It's all my fault," Evan muttered, burying his face in his hands. "I should have never come back. Why did I come back?" Seeing him like that, weeping and blaming himself, I didn't know what to say. In a way, he was right. His return had been the catalyst. But it wasn't his fault. He couldn't have known what his return would unleash. He didn't even know we were married. As I'd said, I was almost grateful. He had freed me from a lie that Chloe had perpetuated by secretly taking birth control for 3 years. She was the one responsible for this mess. But it was over. We were all better off apart. The next day, I left. I didn't tell anyone. Just as my plane was about to take off, I sent Evan one last text. "Evan, I'm gone. I don't think I'll be coming back. Chloe doesn't always take the best care of herself. Keep an eye on her for me. No matter what, she was my wife for 3 years. I miss her college days. You and Chloe, so carefree. And me, the poor kid working part-time jobs just to get by. My college years would have been a lot harder without your help. For that, thank you. Take care of yourself, brother." In the months that followed, Chloe sent me messages constantly. She told me about Evan, about her life. She begged me to come back. I never replied. Evan started drinking heavily. He couldn't escape the belief that he was the reason I had left. One rainy night, he was driving drunk. His car spun out and flipped over. By the time the paramedics got him to the hospital, it was too late. On the way in the ambulance, he kept repeating the same words over and over. "It's all my fault. All my fault." The doctors didn't know what he meant. They called his parents. They called Chloe. When she saw him for the last time, he grabbed her hand, his breathing shallow. "Chloe," he rasped. "Find Leo. Bring him back. I have to go now. For real this time. I'm not coming back. Tell him. Tell him I'm sorry." By the time I returned to Chicago, it was for Evan's funeral. Staring at his pale, still face in the casket, something inside me broke. I gripped the edge of the coffin, and a raw, ragged sob tore from my throat. "You idiot." I wept, my tears splashing onto the polished wood. "Why would you do this? I told you it wasn't your fault. Why did you put this all on yourself? What am I supposed to do now? Get up." I cried out to the empty shell of my friend. "Let's go back to how it was in college. I'll run your errands, and you can pay me. Just get up, please." My grief filled the room, a contagious sorrow that set everyone else to weeping. To all the older family friends, Evan had always been the perfect son. No bad habits, good grades, fiercely loyal. And now he was gone. Chloe cried so hard she fainted. After the funeral, I left again, quietly, without a word to anyone. No one knew where I went. Chloe searched the world for me, but I never let myself be found. I knew I shared some of the blame for Evan's death. If I hadn't been so determined to leave, maybe he wouldn't have spiraled. His last wish was for Chloe to find me, but I could never face her again. Everything, all of it, it was because of her. She had destroyed Evan's bright future. If she had just kept her mouth shut, if she hadn't told him the real reason for our divorce, the very thing I had warned her against, knowing Evan's character, he would still be alive. People are like that, aren't they? It's only when it's too late, when the damage is done and the regret sets in, that they finally realize how wrong their choices were.